What do you think Jason's dealing with right now in terms of butterflies, emotion?
I don't think Jason has a lot of butterflies. I think he's ready to go out and get wrestling. He's a guy who's a fast-paced guy. I think he's changed it up a little bit in this tournament to protect himself. As we kind of talked about last night, at the Big Tens, he was going out, wrestling really fast-paced, and those guys were diving at his leg consistently over and over again. So this tournament, he slowed it down a little bit, wrestled more control, but as we see last night, he can still open up and score a lot of points.
He's got a stoic personality.
Jason's one of a kind.
Why is that?
He's so competitive in everything that we do. I mean, I remember one time walking in the wrestling room, and he went in at 10 o'clock at night and started doing pull-ups. And I asked him why. He said because his girlfriend beat him in soccer. His girlfriend's a national champion soccer player. You know, so he doesn't want to lose in anything. I'm sorry, fiance. But he just has that personality where everything is serious, but he can lighten it up and have a good time at the same time. But one of the most talented individuals I've ever been around in my entire life when it comes to sport wrestling.
You had some minor bumps and bruises along the way at Penn State. Never something like Jason has dealt with right now. What's it like to try to train through that? A, to get healthy, to rehab, and then B, to try to train around it?
Well, I would say the biggest thing is just having trust in your coaching staff and your trainers. And, you know, we're fortunate to have obviously great coaches, and Dan Monthly is, I think, the best trainer in the country. He's probably the best trainer in the entire world. Just how much he cares, the time and effort he puts in to making sure guys are healthy. I mean, he'll come in at 5 in the morning, start lining guys up, you know, session after session, to make sure they're healthy and ready to compete. So I think, you know, after Jason was injured, the first thing that happened is he figured out what it was, he diagnosed it, and then right away he started working with Dan. And as hard as he works on the mat, he was working that hard in rehab to make sure he could wrestle in this tournament.
Single to a trip. Nolf strikes first, 2-0. Jason Nolf of Penn State.
Keep that legal.
What are his
Easy.
potentially dangerous?
Be smart.
Nolf will remain on top. What are his strengths as a rider?
I think he's underrated as a rider. When you think of Jason, you think of just a prolific scorer on his feet, just fast-paced. You know, he just makes things up. But, you know, when he wants to, he can ride really hard on top. You know, I think right now he wants to set the pace on his feet, but, you know, when it comes down to riding some guy, I mean, he's good pressure forward. You should see last night, leg in, power half, got 3 or 4 turns. But he's the kind of guy who adjusts as matches go on.
Hayden Hidlay of NC State, one of 2 finalists for NC State. I've watched some tape, international freestyle of Hayden. Accomplished. What's the scouting report on him?
He's got a great headlock. I've seen his head, you know, he's got a nice headlock. He can set up from a lot of different positions, but he's just very tough and solid in every single situation. You don't make it to the national finals without being extremely talented, and he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. And for him in this match, it's got to be to control it and not let the score start getting out of control. You know, if he can keep it close and, you know, be able to get a takedown at the end of a period, you know, getting an escape right here would be really important for him to kind of stay in this match mentally as well as on the scoreboard.
The takedown and the ride out to end this first period gives Nolf a 4-1 lead and 55 seconds of riding time. Jason Nolf is the second of 5 finalists from Penn State that we will see tonight, and their head coach, Cale Sanderson, continuing to mow along at really historical rate. What was Cale like on finals night?
I don't think he's any different tonight that he was the first day of the season, last night, yesterday. You know, for him, it's about just making sure his guys understand that to be free and go out and wrestle. I don't think I've ever heard Cale ever talk about one time winning a match. You know, in my career, and one time, you know, being around him with these guys, it's about going out, being bold, being yourself, and you know, just encouraging people. And it comes out when these guys talk in their interviews, and when they talk, that's what they're being told every single day from their coach, who they admire, look up to, and believe in.
You'd think that they would bear the burden of being the favorite, of being the hunted, but they don't act that way.
Well, I think this year Ohio State put that on themselves. You know, I think with, you know, being very active and, you know, they believe they have a really strong team, and they do have a strong team. These 2 teams are the best 2 teams in 1 year we may see in the history of the sport. But I think they almost kind of put the bullseye on their back, which is kind of crazy considering Penn State had 5 returning national champions on their team. So I don't think that was ever a thing that they felt, because it wasn't really like that coming into this tournament. I think all the talk was, can Penn State stay with Ohio State? And, you know, which they have, and it's been a back and forth battle, which has been, you know, great for this, you know, the fans to be able to witness in this event.
Where can Hidlay find some offense against Nolf now, down 4 points?
he's going to have to start creating some offense. Maybe looking for a re-attack, counter offense. But with Jason, as he starts feeling it and he starts moving more and more, it's hard to set something up when you're constantly reacting. And that's one thing that Jason does so well is he's getting guys reacting all the time. Even if it's just subtly pulling a foot forward or a fake or something to that effect, you just always got to be ready because he can score so quickly.
Jason's got a motor also. I've rarely seen him tired.
I don't think tired's in his vocabulary. Even if he was tired, I don't think he'd ever tell you he was tired. He's going to go out and he's going to wrestle till he's purple in the face.
Where does that come from? Give the fans an indication of what this young man is doing to put himself in this kind of physical condition.
I honestly couldn't even tell you. Just from the day, just the day that he first came on campus, he just had this mentality about him. He had it in high school. He's had it his entire career. He just holds himself to that standard. Sometimes I joke with him as Jason, why don't we work on top a little bit and make a match a little bit easier so you don't have to go out and get 15 takedowns a match. And, he wants to do things the hardest way possible, and I think he believes that no one can wrestle with his pace, and when he shakes hands, that's what he's going to do from whistle to whistle.
There were major questions when he went down with that knee injury, took some time off, medically forfeited out of the Big Ten tournament after one-day wrestling. But he has looked like the typical Jason Nolf here this weekend.
I think he's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of kid. Just with his, I think he's one of the, like I said earlier, I've been around some of the best, most accomplished wrestlers that there is to offer in this sport, and I don't know if I've been around someone who's as talented as Jason in every single area. As fans, we watch him just make things up on the fly. It's something that he'd maybe never even done before. And Jason, where did that come from? He's like, I did it one time when I was 6 years old. Pulls it out of his, he just has this confidence to go out and do things that is really rare. Very athletic, very confident, and he goes after it.
David Taylor, great to see you. Continued success at the international level. Mike.
50 seconds to go. Nolf up by 3. And Hidlay's got to be on the offensive here. The first NC State freshman to go to the finals since 1980.
Well, obviously, there's been a lot of speculation about the injury for Nolf, and obviously he knows he hasn't forgotten how to wrestle. And he's been very deliberate and intentional and effective. But I'm also very impressed for a freshman, Hidlay. He's presented himself well. He just has not been able to get that underhook from the left because Nolf's just been too intelligent. He's blocked it off each time. But he's a fine-looking freshman.
He's definitely a great freshman. He's got a promising future, but just well put together match here by Nolf. Every time Hidlay went for that left side underhook, Nolf sealed off that side, kept the elbow down, didn't allow any openings there. Great match.
And I'd say great win for Nolf, but again, no bonus points for Penn State.
With Nolf's second championship, the Nittany Lions leapfrog the Buckeyes into first place in the team race. A major decision in the finals last year, a little bit closer this year for Nolf, but it still feels just as good to stand on top of the podium.
That was quite a jump off the stage. What have you been through over the last month?
Just healing up my knee, staying focused on what I wanted. That national championship helped the team out a lot there. So I got pretty good baseline defense, so it's hard for him to get to my leg.
How were you able to defeat the knee and come out and deliver the type of performance you did over the last 3 days?
I didn't have to defeat it today. I was feeling real good, but just thanks to my trainer and to God and my family, and cool.
Congratulations, Jason.
Thanks.
Audra's son, a 3-time All-American, a 2-time national champion, and he puts his team to #1 in the team race at the midway mark of the night. The Nittany Lions are 2 for 2.
Great match here by Nolf, start to finish. That early takedown, just keeping going with his offense, was able to seal off that arm there, not allow either that underhook. Kept pressing forward, great strategy, great execution from start to finish there by Nolf.